Hi everyone, welcome to Best Practices of Print Management, held here at PaperCut. Today we're going to go through some of PaperCut's simple features to change printing behaviour. We've got some scenarios there. You can see at the bottom of this slide that they're specifically for schools, colleges and universities. But even we have we have some councils on the call today, so we'll be making sure that we translate some of these features, how they work in schools, across to other types of organisations as well. So we'll get started. Let's introduce ourselves. I'm Matt Butchery. I'm the Global Direct Manager for PaperCut. I look after our NG product, which you can buy online. And we've got Damien White with us, who's the Head of Application Engineering. Damien actually holds the mantle of probably the most installs of PaperCut from anyone in the organisation. So we're very lucky to have him here today to talk about how PaperCut works in the field. So you also notice there that we've got the PaperCut Dev Twitter handle. If you do have any questions, not necessarily just now through the webinar, but also at any time, you can always tweet us here at PaperCut Dev, and we generally get back to you very, very quickly. So you'll notice today that we're using GoToMeeting. If you have any questions, because you are on mute, pop them in the chat console there, and we'll monitor those and answer those if need be on the same slide, or we can get to them at the end of the webinar. So the agenda for today, so it's only a very short agenda. We're looking at print policies and print archiving. Within print policies, we're looking at demonstrating colour to grayscale, or colour printing to black and white printing, simplex to duplex, which is single-sided printing, to double-sided printing, and large job routing. I'll just move that there. Large job routing, so things like a 200-page document being sent to an inefficient printer at the wrong time of the day, where PaperCut will intervene and push that print job to a more efficient device, and maybe even at a better time. And then print archiving. You'll see with print archiving that we actually demonstrate how our jobs are changed from colour to grayscale through print archiving. So all of these features here that you'll hear about and see are all included with PaperCut, so there's no additional costs. And really the reason why we decided to hold the first of many webinars is we get a lot of people come up to us at shows and say that they have actually downloaded PaperCut, clicked through the installer and set it up, and in some instances are even reporting on printing, but really not moving to the next level where PaperCut is actually intervening and changing behaviours, either forcing behaviour or reminding print policies. So we get that all the time. So today's a great example for us to show off how these features work, and they're very simple, and they're available for anybody who is looking, even in a trial stage, or right through to people that have already implemented PaperCut but haven't gone to that next level. We'll get into it. We'll start with print policies, if you like, and what we'll see, you actually see print archiving working through the demonstration. So the idea is we'll talk about an example, and then we'll go in and see it in application, and generally the way we show it in application is through our print archiving feature. Now all of the features that we're talking about today are standard in PaperCut in both editions, both PaperCut NG and PaperCut MF, so there's no additional cost for these. So the first policy that we'll look at today will be colour printing to grayscale printing, and I guess to us it seems pretty obvious why we would want to implement that, but not everybody on the call may understand what the printing costs of an organisation are, but they're enormous. And when it comes to colour pages versus monochrome or black and white printing, generally you're paying 10 times the value of a monochrome print when you're printing colour. So an example that we've pulled out here is one of our reports that we have on our live demo. So you can actually have a live demo of PaperCut on our website. Shows that nearly 20,000 pages would cost you like a couple $100, and that's only per month, as opposed to $19.70. So it's an enormous saving, $170 odd, just by implementing this very simple feature that's very easy to use and discourages this most expensive type of printing. So, so discouraging colour printing, I don't know whether is that the right term, discouraging? Yeah, that's probably, or encouraging. Encouraging cost-effective printing.
We're a positive organisation, look at it from the plus side.
So really what we're seeing here is a staff member might wander up, print a full presentation in colour, and PaperCut will intervene here and force this job into monochrome. So there's a couple of different scenarios. The first scenario is a staff member. So this is really where we're going to intervene and we're going to force a job, as opposed to the next example will be more encouraging or reminding of what the policy might be for a student. But the student's a different scenario, being that generally they pay for their own printing in a lot of organisations. And this may also, let's go back to that first example, so not just generally, not just in a school, but let's say for instance in a council organisation, you've got a policy of monochrome printing, you'll be able to force this job from colour to monochrome and really give the, give the user no choice. So they're very different scenarios. So the first scenario again is forcing the job to monochrome, I beg your pardon, forcing the job to monochrome, whereas the second one we're going to actually set a reminder to say, hey, by the way, it's a more expensive job. The policy is monochrome, but if you want to spend your money, go for it. So I might, I'll show, I'll give the mic over to Damien to show the demo.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So we're going to come up with the two different scenarios here of a staff and a student scenario. So as Matt covered off, in the case of a staff member who sends a colour print through to a print queue, we want to make sure that we take the option out of their hands and force it to grayscale. So it's a really easy case for us to be able to demonstrate here. I'm going to open up my demonstration document here, and I'm just going to do the traditional Control P. To set up a print job, and I'm going to send it through to the staff print queue. Now, you'll notice that what I've actually got in my system here is a staff print queue and a student print queue. That's purely for demonstration purposes in this instance, because it was easier for me to set up a staff queue and a student queue than what it would to be able to log out and log back in and show you two different user accounts. So in reality, we'd probably only have one print queue that both staff and students would use, but just literally for the demonstration purposes in this case, we're going to use different logical queues to show those two use cases. So I'm going to print this in colour, and I'm going to choose the option of making sure this particular document is only 2 pages as well. And I click print. You notice that I get an immediate pop-up on my screen that says to me, print policy alert, this job will be converted to grayscale. So because I'm a staff member who sent a print job through in colour to the staff print queue, it's picked up the fact that this job was colour, and it's already gone and done the conversion for me and made this document grayscale. As Matt said, this is really easy for me to now demonstrate through the PaperCut web interface by going to the logs page here. And you can actually use the print archiving feature to see that the document that's being sent through the print queue has been converted to grayscale. Okay, so a really easy way for us to demonstrate the two things here. We've demonstrated print scripting as a way of being able to detect that this was a staff member printing and that there was colour in their document, and we've used the print scripting to do the conversion to grayscale, and now we can use print archiving to prove that that's happened. So the print job that's now being sent through the system here has been converted to grayscale. So let's change our use case a little bit. Exactly the same job now. I'm Control Ping again. I'm going to choose pages 1 to 2. And I'm going to send this to the student printer. And I'm just going to make sure that we're printed on both sides of the paper as well, so I'm not breaking too many rules in one instance. Okay, so now I'm going to send this through to the student printer. And you notice we get a slightly different experience. Okay, so we still get the alert popping up on the screen. Instead of it telling me that we're converting this document to grayscale, it's actually presented me with the option of would you like this job to be converted to grayscale? So I've got my yes and no options here. So I'm going to choose no in this particular case. We can go back to our PaperCut web interface and use print archiving to prove that the document was successfully sent through in colour. So you see obviously our top document there has been sent through in colour. Same scenario, same job through to the student queue, pages 1 to 2, and we're duplexing. As a student, if I choose yes, I want to be able to have the cost savings and adhere to the school's printing policy and go back to PaperCut. you'll see that this document's been converted to grayscale. So that actually meets the real-world application that I saw a number of times within schools where, because students are paying for their own print jobs, if they want to spend the 10 times the cost to print it in colour, that's their prerogative. They'll just run out of their own balance and have to top it up sooner. Whereas staff, because as a school or as a council organisation or as a hospital or as a lawyer, as any of those different verticals that we work in, when we as an organisation are paying for these jobs, we tend to be a little bit more hard and fast with the rule and force things to grayscale.
So that was going to be my next question, was like, out of the organisations, are they the two applications? So really in an education environment where you've got students paying for jobs, we'll remind them of the policy, but hey, if they want to spend their money, go for it.
Yeah.
Whereas in, say, a private organisation or even a government organisation where you don't have that cost recovery function, like students paying for their own printing, really it is about forcing the job.
And you tend to be less forgiving about those sets of rules as well. I guess from anyone's perspective, you just understand what the functionalities and what the capabilities of the system are. Yes, we can either give you an option to force to grayscale, or we can take it out of your hands. Once you understand that they're the capabilities of the software, the rest is up to you in terms of how creative you want to be with the rules around it.
Okay, so the next one, we're going to go through a very similar scenario, but this is, instead of being colour to monochrome, this is simplex to duplex, or single-sided printing to double-sided printing. And again, a very similar scenario where you've got both a staff member and a student example. So staff member, well, we won't go into the scenario. I'll talk about what's important there. Actually, this again, go back to that slide, sorry, Amy. Well, obviously, you're going to halve your paper costs almost instantly by forcing jobs that are single-page single-sided to double-sided. Again, another example that we've got in our live demo is, 76,000 prints per month could save you 38,000 odd sheets of paper. Now that's $300 a month in paper savings alone. So, and we've factored that in on, basically an average price of paper, per ream or per box. So really, we need to think about that $300 per month, $3,600 per year back to your organisation as opposed to paying for paper. Now that's enormous. Okay, so the example that we've got here, much the same as colour to grayscale, we're going to look at forced duplex. So the problem here, we've got a teacher printing a large document, forgets to select two-sided, and away we go. PaperCut intervenes and forces this single-sided job to a double-sided job. So we're going to show a notification on this one too, aren't we?
So really similar experience to what we saw with the colour detection. This is obviously factored around our ability to interpret whether the job is duplex or simplex. So we'll do these in reverse order. Because at the moment I'm actually already set up to print to the student printer. So again, I'm going to do my large document of 2 pages, because that's what I've determined to be a large document in my system here. And we'll also note that I'm now unticking print on both sides of the paper. So I've changed this from a single sheet of paper now to 2 sheets of paper, one impression on each side of the paper. So I send this through to the student printer. And as you'd expect with the students, we pop up on their screen and say, would you like to have this document converted to duplex? And we've got the yes/no options there as well. So of course, I'm a prudent student, and I'm going to click on yes. We can then go back to the PaperCut web interface, refresh our job log here. Now this is one that doesn't demonstrate particularly well in the archive, because when you look at an archive of images, you can't tell that they were duplex or simplex. But what you can see over on the other side here in our job attributes, that this job has been converted to grayscale. So you see I've highlighted where it says duplex yes. I'll highlight the right row. So you can see that we have actively gone and created this job as a duplex job based on the choice of the student. I repeat the process for pages 1 to 2 for the student, just making sure that this is still a simplex job. If I choose no, we should see at the head of our job log, duplex no. So we're giving the students the choice. Let's go and revisit the same scenario and repeat it for staff. So send through the job to the staff printer. It is 2 pages. It is not duplex, so we're printing on once on each piece of paper. I send through my print job. and you see that I don't get the option. So again, for staff, we've enforced a really hard rule that any jobs that come through for them that are simplex jobs, we'll automatically force those to be duplex.
Do we want to show breaking both of those policies?
Absolutely.
Yep.
So breaking one of them is bad enough. Breaking two of them shows that we've actually still got the way that we can handle with compound clauses in this as well. So now I'm sending a job through to the staff printer. It's colour. It is duplex. Sorry, what are we? So we are simplex and we are printing colour. We've broken both rules. And you'll see that we've been able to pick that up with the other script here. So it actually says this will be converted to grayscale and duplex. Yep. So break one, we'll correct one. Break two, we'll correct two. Same with the students. The compound clauses on these as well are easy enough to meet. So we say student printer, pages 1 to 2. We are printing on simplex and we are printing in colour. We've broken both of the rules right now. And you'll see my pop-up will tell me that. Option to convert to grayscale and duplex. And say yes, job will be done.
And away you go. And there was a question I was going to ask you, Damien, is when it comes to the different types of education organisations, so K through 12, so you might have an elementary school or a primary school as opposed to a high school, when do they tend to recover costs? Is it more so in the high school environment?
Traditionally in the high school environment, yep. So once you're year 7 and above is when we start recovering costs. In my experience, primary schools, we're typically giving service to the staff, to the teachers in the primary school, to make sure that the teachers are behaving properly first and foremost, but also the teachers are in control of the ability to release students' print jobs on their behalf. So prep through 6, just paper shouldn't come out of those MFDs unless a teacher releases that job for them.
Great. So the third policy that we wanted to look at today. So we've been through colour to grayscale, we've been through simplex to duplex, and really importantly now we're going to look at rerouting to high volume printers. Now this is an enormous problem that we see, and one that's rarely fixed unfortunately, but like an organisation that has convenience printers dotted around the around the place, and whether that's through, I don't know, like I lost my train of thought. Well, I was going to say whether that's through, say, like an older school workforce. I saw this a lot when I was working at different organisations where people really didn't want to give up their convenience printer on their desk. So they'd send through a 30-page job to a small inkjet, absolute fortune to pay for the job, as opposed to sending it down the hall to a high-volume MFD, which is generally going to be under contract, and you pay per print. So there's a couple of different reasons. There's obviously the cost reason. These big MFDs that are under contract tend to be a lot cheaper than small convenience printers, like even small laserjet and definitely small inkjets. But you've also got the convenience of time as well. So even a smaller MFD that might be running, 20 pages a minute, you're going to send a big job through to that, and it's going to clog up that machine for other people that wanting to use it. Whereas you might have a machine in the organisation that is dedicated, high speed and low cost. And these are the types of jobs, these are the types of devices, I beg your pardon, that you want to send these high volume jobs to. So what you can do with PaperCut is you can set rules around these devices or around people's printing habits to make sure that they're sending the right types of jobs to the right devices at the right times during the day.
Yeah, some real practical applications of that are obviously within high schools. We still tend to see that that labs might have a small printer that sits at the front teacher's desk within the lab environment. So for us to be able to cap those particular printers to nothing more than 20, nothing more than 30 pages is really valuable for the school to be able to then say, right, if it's a big job, send it to the library where we've got the MFDs down there that we get a better rate of being able to use. The other application of this is obviously the staff room, where there might be 2 or 3 PCs down in the staff room with the low volume printer down there. Starting your print job at the start of lunchtime in the staff room and waiting for 400 pages to come off that thing is probably really convenient for you. It's really inconvenient for every other staff member. So we can redirect those jobs directly across to the library where the school will get a better rate for printing.
I think when we go to the next slide, we've actually got the scenario here where a staff or student sends a large document to the most convenient printer. Let's say it's some small inkjet, like close by, which could pay, cost $1 a page. You don't really know. Just quickly, a scenario that we came across this time last year is where we had a a student in a school printing 1.5 million documents a year, which was actually more than what a normal primary school would print. It was like absolutely off the charts. The other thing that people started picking up with PaperCut reporting was also how much printing happens outside normal work hours, and they're the sort of things that you can fix with these rules. So I might hand over to you, Damien. Yeah,
it's always
newsletters, all sorts of stuff we see printed. So.
Just look for Ticket Tech or Ticketmaster in the URL of a print job, and you'll know what most of your print jobs are going to be within the school. So let's do exactly this. So one of the things you would have noticed, and this is a really quick example. One of the things you would have noticed was that I kept changing my number of pages from 1 to 2 in the previous examples, because I've set a really low threshold in this system as to what a large print job is. So let's explicitly go out of our way to break that threshold now. So I'm going to do the full 20 pages, and I may as well mark this up maybe 5 copies. To the student. Actually, I'll send it through to the staff.
We're going to do a barista's course. We want to know about Italian coffee.
I'm hosting a barista course at home, and I'm going to print off all of my pamphlets. So you'll see what we get in this particular case is no questions asked. Yep. Straight up print policy alert. You've sent a document that's too large for this particular printer. In this particular case, we're really aggressive. We just cancel the job and submit it to a high volume printer. Okay. You'll see that within my system here, I actually have a printer called high volume printer. So if I do the right thing and go and choose high volume printer and do my 5 copies of my barista course, all pages 1 to 20, and fire this one through to the system, I won't get any roadblocks in my way. Whether I'm a staff or a student, that's the right device for this size of print job. So there'll be no hurdles in front of you for getting that across to the print room or across into to the library. But by rights, if you print to the labs or if you print to the staff room, anything above, in this case 5 pages, we'll just cancel it. We do have the option to redirect it. I personally prefer to cancel because it gets people to think about it, as opposed to just constantly making the same choice. And it's the perfect outcome. You'll get the better rate for printing this print job.
I guess it's almost a laziness thing, isn't it? Oh, I know it's going to be it's rerouted to a job. I'm just going to keep printing it to the like the inkjet down the road or whatever it might be. So another question for you, Damien, if you don't mind. Out of the organisations that you've seen PaperCut implemented in, how many people actually enforce this rule?
A minority. Yeah, sadly a minority. If I was doing the installation as part of the service for the organisation that I used to work for, we would turn it on by default, and people were always really, really appreciative. But as we know, people download PaperCut NG from our website, do the basic installation that the wizard will take them through, and then often miss these key features, and they're free. Just tick the tick box and turn them on and start getting the value out of the application. All of our ROI calculator is based on your ability to take control of your printing, not just recover money from students. So you may as well get the return on investment by turning these features on.
So, and the best way to probably look into how to implement this is just obviously back through our KBs. We've got some pretty great manuals online that walk through step by step.
Yeah, so the foundation piece of infrastructure that we've been using here today is called print scripts. So we've got a heap of recipes that come free with the application. So everything that we've done here today, I've just used an existing recipe and just tweaked a couple of values, namely what my high volume page was, which I've changed from something like 500 down to 5. So it was really easy for me to trigger these alerts. Really, really easy to set these up if anyone knows how to use JavaScript. Dead easy, but we've also got all the recipes there that will cover most cases, like detecting whether someone's printing an email in colour. There's just no case for printing emails in colour anymore, so we'll automatically convert those to grayscale. Free printing during particular times of the day if you want to be able to give free printing during class times. And we've got a heap of recipes in there that you can use to get you started.
Excellent. So we are going to be sending out, so actually that's pretty much the end of the demonstration for today anyway. Do we want to talk about print archiving? We saw that in application.
Yeah, so it's it is one of the hidden features within PaperCut. Again, it's another great free feature. I've used it here to demonstrate our ability to change effectively from grayscale to colour, or colour to grayscale, because I can't show duplexing on here. But in terms of any of the industries that we install PaperCut into, if you've got any need to be able to prove or disprove print jobs that are being sent by individuals within the organisation, print archiving is absolutely the feature for you. At any point, you can come in here and just click on the job log, whether it's the complete job log, or we can go and look at me as an individual user within the system here, and you'll be able to see the complete print history of that individual user. Click on the job, and you'll be able to see exactly what it was that was printed.
That was an expensive job too, by the way. I think it was $1,000.
We charge a lot for printing around. You'd think with all the printers we could probably cut a better rate, but no, we charge a fairly hefty price for printing in PaperCut. So print archiving, look, if you ever need to have what we call printing non-repudiation, you need to be able to prove that a staff member has printed something that was inappropriate, or you need to prove more likely that it was a student that printed something that was inappropriate. You'll have their complete print transaction history here, not only the date and time stamp, but a copy of the document as well.
No worries. Well, that completes or concludes the presentation. If you've covered everything, great. Again, you can certainly, there's a Twitter handle there at PaperCutDev. If you've got any questions that you wanted to pose to us in an open forum, we always monitor Twitter. You can email support@papercut.com if you've got any questions about today, some of the features today, certainly sales@papercut.com as well. So we monitor all of those queues and we turn those around very, very quickly. If you have any questions, by all means, don't hesitate to contact us, and look out for two things. Firstly, the information that we're going to send you from today's presentation, and then an invitation to the next webinar, which will delve into some of these features a little further. So, yep, that's bye from me. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks all.